So I think you know this about our very good friend Dylan, but our very good friend Dylan loves Doctor Who.
Yeah.
He loves it.
Which the first time I figured that out, it was kind of a shock to me.
Yeah,
Because it was just a little out of the ordinary. I had never heard him mention it. And then all of a sudden it was like some reference was made and he could rattle off something. And it's like, wait, you know Doctor Who?
What's funny is I think I know exactly when that happened, which was we had an old show that we were on and Alistair was on it and so was Dylan. And we were going around and we were talking about specifically like favorite kind of sci-fi stuff.
Yeah.
And Dylan was like, oh yeah, my favorite sci-fi series is Doctor Who. And we were all like, it is? And he was like, yeah, take an interest in my interests. And we were like, sorry, bro. No, though. And then we slapped him and pushed him down a spiral staircase. And then he was a ghost all the way up till when he did our show. But then the Silver Shamrock masks, they kill kids. They turn them into bug holes. But for ghosts, right back to life.
Yeah.
But I'm about to Doctor Who some shit onto our fans right now.
Oh, okay.
Guys, we aren't even here right now. We're not even in our studio right now. We're at fucking Halloween Horror Nights right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Try that on for size.
Feels good. Smell that fog.
What is it? Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey, right? Yeah. So we did one of those, right? So as you're listening to this right now, August 29th, we into the fog. Maybe we went to Halloween Horror Nights instead. We're not actually here with you.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
If you're like in your car driving alone, listening to a podcast, you are actually alone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they normally are.
Well, no, I mean, even Jesus pieced out.
Wow.
Right?
He was supposed to have the wheel and everything.
Yeah, but he's going. That's good. Yeah, but he's going to Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's going to get crunk on gin drinks. Anyway, we, it just so happens that the first day of the event this year is Friday the 29th.
Yeah, which is, I believe, like the earliest this event has ever started.
Ever. Just filled year after year with unprecedented events.
Yeah.
Unprecedented weather events, unprecedented political events, and now a horror thing is happening earlier. Now, that's way lower stakes.
Yeah, thankfully.
Than all the other things that I mentioned.
But it's also the thing I care about most.
Yeah, for sure. I like the sort of quality of life things that they seem to be doing this year. Things like you sent a thing today even about how it looks like they've put big awnings over outdoor lines so that people don't just get fucking... Yeah, you know, it's been a theme park in Florida that's been doing this event since the 90s and they didn't think... should put something over people for rain until just now.
Yeah, well, okay, and therein lies the positive is that Universal Orlando really seems to listen to their fans and the people who go to their events. Yeah. Because every single night of the event, as we know, as you're leaving, there are people at the exit, turnstiles asking you to take a survey. The next day after you're there, you will typically get an email to take a survey online. All throughout the event. And so they take all of those. They've read all those things. They've taken all these notes from people, and they actually seem to have listened and like fixed things. So they've listened to everybody's surveys? I mean, I would assume so. So then that means that this year they're going to give me free everything. Well, did you get an email about that? Or no, I got a survey in my email inbox, and I responded to it, and I filled the survey out with terrible, had to pay for stuff. I said I don't want to do that. I'm PJ. I'm the co-host of the Third Channel podcast. God damn it, I'm I don't want to pay for stuff. Yeah, people aren't. So they heard me, and they're going to give me all the free stuff. Yeah, I'm sure that's what's going to happen. Okay, don't worry, man. I'll get you some free stuff. Oh, thanks. You know my sizes and whatnot. I'm joking.
Hello and welcome to the Third Channel Podcast.
where we delve into the horror franchises you love from the perspectives of a lifelong horror fan.
And a newbie to the genre. I'm PJ.
And I'm Derek.
And today the only thing we're here to talk about is children.
What?
Children of horror. Specifically,
Oh.
The Dream Child.
Oh, I got you now.
Nightmare on Elm Street 5. The Dream Child. I was going to try to work that in with and I'm the dream newbie to the genre, but then I thought, well, you didn't say the dream lifelong horror fan.
Yeah.
Because you're not. You're nobody's dream lifelong horror fan.
Absolutely not.
Everybody's dream lifelong horror fan is Sven Gulli.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But he's dead.
Well, the original.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. Because Sven Gulli's still going on.
Well, okay, so who wins in a fight? The original Sven Gulli or the classic Joe Bob Briggs?
It's Joe Buck. Every day of the week.
Well, yeah, because he'd just basically be shooting at a skeleton.
Yeah.
Skeleton.
Oh, God.
To finish our conversation, or at least to go back to it, you and I were talking about Halloween Horror Nights and how right now we're there.
Yes.
Isn't that nice? Think about that.
It
I wish that were real right now. We have to wait.
Like us in the recording time, but then in the timeline that people are listening, we're there.
So, okay. It's a weird, that's why I brought up Doctor Who. It's a weird thing because right now you and I are not there.
Right.
But when anybody that isn't us or producer Ty listens to this episode, we will then be there.
Yeah.
So I wish that was now,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not. You and I were talking about all of the houses and the scare zones and the things that we were looking most forward to.
Yeah. I mean, I know we've talked about Halloween Horror Nights on this show before. We've done some kind of light coverage of the events that we've been to and some of the houses and announcements that have been made for this year. But I guess since we're kind of really talking about it for a second, we can kind of, if I haven't said it before, I've been going to Halloween Horror Nights since I turned 16 years old.
So 45 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
I spent my Sweet 16 at Halloween Horror Nights, Universal Orlando, for their Sweet 16.
I spent my Sweet 16 at the Chum Bucket.
Wow.
My parents couldn't afford the Krusty Krab.
Oh, yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
They're always jacking up those prices. Yeah, so I've been going since 2006. And once I moved to Tampa in like 2013, I've been getting the frequent fear pass, and I go every single week, barring sickness or death.
Hurricanes,
if you will.
Actually, he probably did, if I'm being honest. But you and I were discussing, not so much a tier list, but like a psyched list, like a hype list.
Hype list, baby.
And you hate making lists of things like
it
this.
stresses me out.
Yeah. So
now making lists does not. I love making a list, but if I have to rank it,
okay,
it gives me anxiety.
Can you make a list of your top 5 least favorite lists? He just died. He just had a heart attack and he passed away.
The 10 Commandments.
Whoa, no. Oh God. All the fundamentalists are going to egg our house. But yeah, you and I made hype lists.
Yeah.
So how do we want to do this? Do we want to go from bottom to top? That's my assumption.
Yeah, because we're going to have the same bottom.
Yeah, okay. Let's do bottom to top, but let's go, you go first and then I'll say my bottom and then we'll just go back and forth.
Okay.
These are houses.
So for anyone who doesn't know,
yes.
Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando has 10 haunted houses.
Correct.
Mazes, sometimes they're referred to as, that are available to us during the event. 5
of those are houses that they have created, written, and designed. 5 of those are based off of other companies' intellectual properties. Well, sometimes it's their own, but it's something that they did not create for the event.
Right.
So yeah, mine's a mixed bag.
Mine is a mixed bag as well, but typically I am more excited to see what they do with their original houses versus their IP.
Yeah, I typically am too. This year's a little unfortunate because it's got like some of my favorite things of all time.
We've said that. It's real stacked in your favor.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Number 10.
Number 10 for me.
Yeah.
Horrors of the Wyatt Six.
Yeah. For the WWE house.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same here. I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. We've talked about it on this show. Not only do I not give a shit, I think that timing is really insensitive and culturally like a bad move because, you know, the guy who owns it is like a rapist. And
Yeah. Well, okay. Let's stress what you mean by that, because you don't mean anyone within the Wyatt family.
no, I mean the person who owns whatever the WWE stands for. That guy, Vince
World
McMahon.
Wrestling Entertainment.
I think so.
Something.
That guy, Vince McMahon specifically. Nobody involved in the event. Nobody involved in, I guess, maybe. I don't know the Wyatts.
Yeah.
I don't know those guys.
Anything that I've read about them, because I've kind of been trying to get at least some semblance of an understanding of like why this is at this event and what this could mean. They all seem like really like stand-up people. And the main guy who has passed away a few years back.
What is it, Bray?
I believe it's Bray.
Yeah.
He is the one who kind of started this whole horror franchise within the WWE.
And I mean, people seem very excited about it.
Because people who are wrestling fans are diehards.
Yeah.
And it was just never one of those things that I was into.
My only concern, and we've talked about it again, is that the owner is like, the things that have come out about the things he has done to his employees are deplorable and awful. And at a point in our culture where like victims and their rights are being just stripped away from them. And then also his wife destroyed the Department of Education.
Yeah. So yeah, I agree with that. I just wanted to specify who we're pointing our negativity at.
That's good. Okay. Yours, number 9.
Dolls, Let's Play Dead.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I'm surprised by that. And you'll see why in a bit.
Okay.
My number 9 is Grave of Flesh.
Okay. This is going to be an interesting
I don't care
list.
for zombies. We all know that.
Right. We don't know if this is going to be zombies, but you're going into the underworld.
I'm assuming it is because it's called Grave of Flesh.
Yeah, you're probably not wrong. I'm just saying. They don't use the word zombies in the description, I don't believe.
Okay. All right. 8.
You're not going to like this. Five Nights at Freddy's.
Okay. Also surprising.
Yeah.
My 8, and you may not care about this. My number 8 is Terrifier.
Okay.
We watched Terrifier in preparation last night. Didn't love it. It's really meandering and kind of like you said it best. You like the moments in the movie, the things where things happen. Those are great. There's way too much time of people, bad actors, just kind of walking around a warehouse for too long. Yeah.
And the real shame is that the first half, I would say, anyone who, spoilers to people who have not seen it.
Yeah.
But the first half, I think the actors are pretty good.
Yeah, I think the first half is a really good horror, like a horror short.
Yeah. And then the back half, I'm like,
is the worst movie.
This could just be over. I'd be fine.
Yeah. And also because of the things so Derek and I have a phrase that he coined, and it is in reference to, I think the house was Exorcist Believer. And it's the first time at least I heard you use it.
Okay.
Which is that movie has, and they cut this out of the movie, by the way, because this house was just based on the trailer. But on the wall, it had text like scrawled in poopy all over the wall.
Yeah.
And it was like a creepy thing, right? But they then sprayed that room with shit smell.
Yes.
And so you called it the poo room. And we already have confirmed that Terrifier is going to have a poo room.
Oh, yeah.
Not excited for that.
Yeah.
So that's my number 8.
That's like an HHN staple that comes and goes from year to year, but it's been back the last couple.
Yeah, not a fan.
Number 7 for me, El Artista, A Spanish Haunting.
Okay. My number 7 is Jason Universe.
Okay.
Because I don't know anything about the direction that they're taking Jason Universe, and we've gotten no confirmation about what this is going to be about.
Yeah.
There are theories and rumors based on things that people have seen that it'll be based on like the first half of the franchise. I don't know. I want more concrete stuff. Yeah. And I love Friday the 13th in the way that you love that, like that shirt that you find in the bottom of your closet and you're like, oh shit, I forgot about this. Yeah, I'll wear this. And then you forget it again. It's not one of my favorites.
Gotcha.
So
gotcha.
It's number 7.
Number 6 is Fallout.
Oh my God. Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just surprised by that.
Yeah.
Just nothing to say about that. You pissing all over me.
No. It's here is the thing about this list. And I was going to save this till the end, but I'll go ahead and give it here.
Yeah.
Is that literally other than number 10, I'm excited for all these houses.
Oh no, me too.
So it is just a
Which one picks on you the most?
yes, and so I am super interested in seeing what they achieve with Fallout.
Fair enough.
Because we have seen what they've done with like video games in the past a couple times. I've seen what they have done with this size television show before. And those can be a mixed bag.
I was honestly surprised that they were going towards the television show. When they announced Last of Us, it was in the heat of the HBO show. Everybody just assumed it was the show, but then it wasn't. It was the game. And I'm surprised to see that a Fallout house is going to be based around the show.
Yeah. And I think they're going to expand on that. I think they've also given a little hint of like they're going to tease something to season 2.
That'd be nice.
So like that's cool.
I'd like that because I'm excited for that second season quite a bit. Okay. And that was your number 6?
Number 6.
My number 6 is Galkin Monsters of the North.
Okay.
I really liked Monstrous.
Yeah.
So I have a feeling that this will be about the same, but I think Latin America monsters are just more interesting. So that's my number 6.
My number 5 is Hatchet and Chains.
We're starting to catch up a little bit.
What is that? Ghost Bounty Hunters or something Bounty Hunters?
It's a little vignette from last year's Slaughter Cinema.
Yeah.
And it makes sense that it's Hatchet and Chains. I'm surprised it's not the shark one because they had a shark theme vignette in that.
Jaws is always one of those properties because it's a universal property. So it's like, well, why don't they just do it?
Yeah.
Because how do you make a haunted house where your bad guy is a shark?
Easy. Filled with water, real sharks.
You got me.
My number 5 is El Artista, A Spanish Haunting. Apparently that is a house that the majority of the theming of this year is based around.
Yes.
So it hit middle of my list. It seems interesting to me.
Yeah, I'm interested in that one as well. I think it's going to be the like pretty house this year.
Probably.
A lot of stained glass from what we've kind of heard, but yeah. My number 4 is Terrifier.
Okay. Way higher, yeah.
My reasoning behind that is that Terrifier for the last several years has been on everybody's kind of short list of like, why haven't they done that? Why haven't they done that? And I've always just been like, because have you seen those movies? Like, Horror Nights does like gore and things like that, but there are things that happen in both those movies that I have seen so far that I'm like, I don't know that Horror Nights can do them justice.
Yeah.
With what they're allowed to do in a quote unquote family park.
Yeah, spoiler alert, but how do you display somebody who is hacksawed in half starting from the vagina? That seems impossible.
But yeah, so I'm interested to see, and it's also the things that they've said about there is going to be a choice toward the end of that house where you can go the dry route or the wet route. And I'm very interested in what that means.
Yeah, I'm very worried, especially if it's based on the first one, because the only real wet thing that you have in the first one, again, is the poo room.
I think it's going to be blood, though.
Okay. My number 4, Hatchet and Chains.
Okay. Yeah, we're right on.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what it is, what they're going to do to flesh out that silly little thing. I'm excited for that.
My number 3 is Jason Universe.
Okay.
That has to do with just my history with the Jason franchise. I am interested in what they are doing and that we're finally getting new Jason stuff after like 16 years of just nothing.
Yeah.
And so in the year that Jason had a house last, not counting 25 where they had Freddy versus Jason, I did not get to go through that house. And so this is my first one to like really see like a Jason house. And I think with all of our coverage and watching them over and over again and talking about them and really like digging through this franchise, I'm interested to see what they do.
Sure.
And all the references that they're going to make.
I'm excited for that too. I think that, I don't know, I worry that the maze will try to, because what they did with the Chucky house the last time that Chucky had a house was they made it really meta and they just kind of made it a walking tour of all of the kills from that series.
Yeah.
I just have a feeling that that's maybe not so meta, but that it will just be a bunch of those little bits and pieces.
Yeah.
And I don't usually like those. I like
fair.
something a bit more cohesive. That's why it's a little lower on my list. My number 3, Fallout.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm very excited for Fallout. Fallout is probably my favorite game series of all time. It's number 3 because there are 2 things I am more excited for.
Yeah.
But I would be more excited if it were strictly the game series.
Fair.
It's not that I dislike the show. I just don't want this to be a giant marketing tool for the show. The show's already got enough traction. It's a Prime show, so it's every fucking where. So yeah, I have my reservations about it, but I can't help but be incredibly excited.
Oh yeah. I can't wait to see what they do with that.
Yeah.
Number 2, Grave of the Flesh. I love the description of this one. The idea of being like buried and like in your grave and going to the underworld and then being ripped apart. All that sounds interesting to me.
As a side note, all of these opinions of mine are based on nothing. I've read none of the descriptions.
Gotcha.
I'm staying away from it all.
Yeah.
So I have no idea. These are all just blind guesses.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's your number 2?
That's my number 2.
Okay. My number 2? Five Nights at Freddy's.
Oh my God. I am astounded.
Yeah. My number 2, I love that series. I love that series in 2 kinds of ways. I love that series in a fat kid at the mall who walks into a GameStop, sees a Freddy Fazbear plushie and goes, FNAF! I like it in that way. But I also...
I've seen him do it.
I have done it. I'm a fat kid in the mall. But I also love it in the sense that, like, I am one of those people who... I have an office job, and the office job, as long as you're being decent and respectful, you can watch videos as you work. And so I have seen an awful lot of game theorists and like, this is the history of the story of, and I've just watched all of the lore because there's a fuck ton about that game. Now, recently they've started to kind of fuck with that stuff and it's gotten a little crazy. I'm talking about like circa between 5 and 10 years ago when all of it like Markiplier and game theories and whatnot were like really going through it all.
Yeah.
I got really into it and I love like background shit where you really have to needle and thread your way through that game to find everything. And when you do, you're still getting hints at what the story is so you can theorize about it. I love that. And the story it theorizes is weird and creepy and bizarre. So I have a huge special place in my heart for that. Not to mention, everybody was certain that was a house we were going to have last year. They were certain of it.
It made sense.
And then it never came. And so I was kind of disappointed. So this is a house that I've been waiting 2 years for. Yeah. So number 2, there it is.
My surprise at that, I just want people to be clear, is not that it's that high for PJ. I knew that. It's the fact that it's not number 1.
Which is funny.
When Fallout was 3,
yeah,
I was like, oh, well, certainly.
Yeah,
Five Nights is at 1.
Yeah, it doesn't math out. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
My number 1 then is Gulkin, Monsters of the North.
Okay, and that was my number 6.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I love a cold house.
Okay.
I loved...
what do you think about a slick flick?
I love a slick flick.
That's a bit from a podcast that we both like. That's not. I'm not asking Terry if he loves porn because that's what that sounds like.
Yeah. But I love a cold house.
Yeah.
There's typically one in the events year. I love, like you said, the like horrors of Spanish, Spanish heritage monsters that they did last year. I thought was really, really cool and interesting.
Sure. And
this one I think is going to be, from what I've kind of read about it a little bit in the description and I've heard described a little bit, I think there's going to be a weird part.
Oh,
and
good.
I love something with a weird part.
I can't wait. I love a weird part.
Now, I will say I don't know who the design teams are for this. So I don't know if my favorite design team who did Goblin's Feast and the year before that Blood Moon and the year before that Dead Man's Pier, which one they're doing. But basically, this is my hype list now. Once I go through the houses, whichever that one is probably going to.
So I think that's it, is that now it won't be the one after this. We will still be several ahead. Yeah. But one of these you'll be listening to us talk, and that's how that episode will start is, God, this is timey-wimey because you'll, out of the blue, it'll be like the next week for us. Yeah. But it'll be several weeks for you guys. So look out.
But what does that make your number 1?
So what number for you was Grave of Flesh?
Number 2.
So your number 2 is my number 9.
Yep.
Your number 9 is my number 1. I am the most excited for Dolls Let's Play Dead.
Wow.
That's twofold. Number 1, I have a lot of collectibles. I collect figures. I collect whatnot. My brother collects a lot of dolls, living dead dolls and whatnot. And there's always, it's infamous, right? There's an uncanniness to dolls that I think would be interesting to be explored in this way. And then number 2, so the only way I could math it out is that either you shrink, right? And that's what you said you think is going to happen, is that you shrink down, or they're really big. In either way, you shrinking or a big doll, they're both terrifying.
Yeah.
No, I like the imaging from the house that we've seen so far. I like the idea of, because I haven't seen anything like that. It's totally unique for me in the time that I've been going to see a house that is just haunted dolls. So yeah, no, for some reason that's the one I'm the most excited about.
And that's great. I think the reason it's lower on my list is that I have been through houses that were similar.
Okay. Sure.
Or kind of ideas that have been explored, whether at Universal. So a long time ago, I can't remember which year right off the top of my head right now. They had Dollhouse of the Damned. That house was phenomenal. Not in the same location, but the other tent in that area is where that location was. And then Hallow Scream at Busch Gardens has had similar sort of toy doll houses before.
Okay. Which is funny because I've never been, we live very close. I've always lived very close to Busch Gardens, and I've never been to Hallow Scream. I think this will be the first year. A Nightmare on Elm Street, The Dream Child. No 5.
I've seen the 5 like come and go depending on where you see it.
Yeah. Freddy Delivers. Oh my God. That's a good bit. Alice finds the deadly dreams of Freddy Krueger starting once again. This time, the taunting murderer is striking through the sleeping mind of her unborn child. So, abortion is murder.
Yeah.
Because it can dream or whatever.
Case, yeah.
You and I have had the exact same conversation. Like, we had the exact same thought, which led to being, like, the same point being made from both of us, which is I remembered hating this one.
Same.
I remembered not even disliking it, but straight up hating it.
Yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah, I really dig it.
Yeah, I liked it a lot more than I remembered, to the point where it was like, wait a minute. And I looked at my notes and it was just like, or my review of it from the first time I saw it. And it was just like, I gave this like 2 stars. Why did I rate it so low? I don't know. It must have just struck me wrong. There must have been some contributing factor, but I thought it was very good.
Yeah. Whenever I look back at the last couple times I've rated it, I rated it right around the same place that I did for the Dream Master. And I would still put them pretty close.
Yeah.
I think we made the comparison of like 4 was very much like 3. And now having watched these so close together again, it's like, no, 4 and 5 are so close.
Yeah. 4 and 5 are, I would say this edges out 4 in that race just a bit.
I would agree. And I'm surprised by that.
Yeah.
But it's the happiest surprise.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because we have to do this we make ourselves do this.
Yeah. Well, and I know what's coming.
Yeah. Guys, you will hear literally nothing good from our lips about the next one. I'm surprised that we're even. Can we not just do the thing where we're like, it's bad? Anyway,
no, we should try.
All right. Well,
we'll see how we do.
This one, I think this one, in comparison to 4, I think this one has better characters, and I think those characters have better performances.
Yes.
In this one. I think that they play around with more like founded in reality stuff. They didn't write their own version of nursery rhymes that are the Lord's Prayer to make their weird plot about a dream master come to life. It's just like, oh, but what happens if you're pregnant and Freddy wants to get into your life through your child's dreams? And it's like, that's terrifying. Yeah, that's a good concept. They fuck with stuff that has been established from the past, like his mother and things. And it's solid. It's a solid movie. The first time we saw it, I guess we were just drunk.
Probably.
What does he do when you're drunk?
Does it make it easier or harder for him to get in?
If you're drunk when Freddy enters your dreams, is he drunk?
Probably.
He's contact drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As am I.
Because that's an old joke of yours.
Uh-huh. But yeah, no, I can't remember. I never think that I enjoy this one. And then this time I don't know if it just clicked all of a sudden or what it was, but man, yeah, the performances I think are pretty great. The effects are great, and it was fun.
It is a lot of fun. We have our complaints. We'll get to them, but I think at this point, if it's not a 5-star movie, we're going to have at least a complaint.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, fuck, I can come up with a handful of things to complain about Halloween, like the original. So I can think of a bunch of things to complain about with Jaws.
What?
Yeah, number 1, why no haunted house? Go ahead.
A Nightmare on Elm Street 5, The Dream Child, released August 11th of 1989, just shy of a year after the release of the last one. It's directed by Stephen Hopkins. It's written by Leslie Bowen, John Skipp, and Craig Spector. And it's produced by Robert Shea and Rupert Harvey.
Craig Spector's a good name.
Yeah, it is. The cinematographer is Peter Levy, or maybe Peter Levi. I don't know. But he also was the cinematographer for Dangerous Game in 87, Predator 2 in 1990, Judgment Night in 93, Blown Away in 94, Lost in Space in 98, Under Suspicion, The Reaping, and Race, which was a 2016 film. Those are all directed by Stephen Hopkins, the director of this film.
Question. Lost in Space. Is that a direct sequel to Pigs in Space?
Yeah.
They just get lost?
Oh, yeah.
Shame.
And then he also shot the pirate movie Cutthroat Island, which came out in 1995, and that is directed by Rennie Harlan, who did Nightmare on Elm Street 4. The editors on this are Brent A. Schoenfeld, who did Nightfall, which was an 88 sci-fi mystery, The Terror Within, an 89B horror movie, and Time Trackers, which is an 89 sci-fi adventure, Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, and The Terror Within 2, a sci-fi horror film from 91. It's also edited by Chuck Weiss, who also edited Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors and For the Dream Master.
Okay.
Budget on this one is a little more than the previous. So, as we said, Dream Master is the highest grossing nightmare film until Freddy vs. Jason. So because of that, they bumped the budget a little bit to $8 million from $6.5. But this one is the first time that they've really gone down. So they made 22.1 instead of their 49.4.
That's crazy.
So about half. Now it's still like that's a profit, but
I wonder if it's got anything to do with like the theming of it.
possibly.
Because you're going to lose a lot of people on the religious side of things the second you start messing with anything like this.
Mm-hmm. And even with that drop, it's still, very much a success and the highest grossing slasher film of 1989. Our director, Stephen Hopkins, he did Dangerous Game, which was a slasher film, Predator 2. He directed Blown Away, a 94 action thriller, The Ghost and the Darkness, which was a historical adventure from 96, Lost in Space, which was a sci-fi adventure film. It's the 98 film version of the old TV show. It's one that I watched as a kid and I really, really liked. It's probably awful. He did a supernatural thriller called The Reaping, and then he did the sports biopic Race, which is about Jesse Owens in the 1936 Berlin Olympics. Our producer, Robert Shea, you know him, you love him. He has a cameo in this film.
He does.
As one of the 100 psychopaths.
Yeah.
The other producer is Rupert Harvey, who also produced Critters 3 and 4.
Whoa.
Crossworlds, which is a sci-fi action flick, and a crime horror film called Bones, starring Snoop Dogg. And then much later, he was the producer on Critters, A New Binge, which is the 2019 TV series.
Oh, no.
And Critters Attack, which is the 2019 TV movie.
Oh, no. We watched that.
Yeah. Those are,
I don't know if you can call it watching.
I don't know if you could call it a movie.
We cringed through that slop.
Yes. The screenplay and story was done by Leslie Bowen. He had written House 3, which was a slasher film produced by Sean Cunningham, a vigilante film from 1990 called Kid, an action film called Nowhere to Run, a disaster movie, actually a couple disaster movies from 1906 and 1997, which are Daylight and Dante's Peak. And then he did some uncredited work on Jason Goes to Hell.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I wouldn't admit that.
Yeah. Yeah.
The story was written by John Skipp, who was an author who did uncredited work on Class of 1999, which is a sci-fi horror film, a horror thriller called Animals from 2009, and then a portion of the horror anthology Tales of Halloween from 2015. The other person who wrote the story is Craig Spector, and he also wrote Volcano, Fire on the Mountain, which was a TV movie, and then Animals with John Skipp, the horror thriller, and that starred Naveen Andrews, who played Saeed in Lost.
He's the most handsome man.
Mm-hmm, that he is.
I like that guy. He's the only thing I like about Lost. That or the fact that it doesn't air anymore.
You're a bastard, man. The music for this film is done by Jay Ferguson. He had done the music for the slasher film Bad Dreams, the action adventure Double Dragon, 14 episodes of Tales from the Crypt, Tremors 2, Tremors 4.
What?
And I believe he did music for the Tremors TV show that ran for one season.
There's a Tremors. What?
And you'll be most excited to hear this. He did a lot of TV work, music work.
Great.
But he most famously composed the theme for NBC's The Office.
Okay, interesting.
And he appears as the guitarist in Kevin's band, Scrantonicity or
Scrantonicity.
Yeah, there you are.
Well, it depends on what season, because eventually it's Scrantonicity 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I couldn't tell you which it is.
He's like, you guys got to vote for my band, Scrantonicity 2, not Scrantonicity. I'm not with them anymore, which is a hilarious joke.
Yeah, I knew you'd enjoy that.
Yeah, I did. Thanks.
The visual effects supervisor is Alan Monroe, who had worked on The Wraith, which is apparently a sci-fi superhero film from 1986 starring Charlie Sheen.
What?
But he also did visual effects on Beetlejuice.
Why didn't they make a franchise out of that?
Oh, I don't know.
Charlie Sheen's got star power, baby.
He's got tiger blood.
He's got many problems. Many dependencies.
But Alan Monroe also was a visual effects supervisor for The Addams Family in 91 and Addams Family Value in 93, as well as Jack Reacher, Never Go Back, the 2016 action thriller.
So you've managed to reach in this. Interesting.
And Mr. Harrigan's Phone.
I have no idea.
I think it's Mr. Harrigan's Phone. It's a 2022 supernatural horror film. It's a Stephen King adaptation. And then he unfortunately also worked, he did the digital effects for After Earth, the M. Night Shyamalan, Will Smith and Jaden Smith vehicle.
Shyamalan made that?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Is that that's the one where like Will Smith is sad and they're in like a bathroom, right?
So The Dream Master was released in 1988, quickly became the highest grossing in the series. And then they also had the spin-off TV show, Freddy's Nightmares. So basically, Freddy and merchandise for this series was like at the highest it ever was. And so screenwriter Leslie Bowen originally had pitched the baseline storyline for The Dream Child to New Line during the pre-production for Dream Warriors. Now, New Line executive Sarah Risher was pregnant at the time, and so she did not love the idea of a newborn Freddy Krueger clawing his way out of a woman's womb. But then after giving birth, that producer started to think about the storyline and realized that the teenagers who had watched the original film in 84 had grown up and were probably trying to start their own families of their own. So they, started development on The Dream Child in late 1988. Pre-production was challenging, basically because of the frequently changing script. And so director Stephen Hopkins recalled that the bulk of the final film came from Leslie Bowen's script, although John Skipp and Craig Spector had added some material, causing like the Writers Guild of America to get involved and to decide credits. Like we've talked about before, there's always a thing. Stephen Hopkins, he found that he had gotten the directing job for this film on Valentine's Day of 1989 and was given a release date of August of that same year. So to compound things there, New Line Cinema gave him a schedule of just 4 weeks to shoot this film.
God damn.
That is less than the 8 weeks that Rennie Harlin got for The Dream Master. And then he had a further 4 weeks for editing, which meant that he had to shoot on one stage while the crew dressed a second stage, so they were shooting almost continuously. And he said that he had managed because he was 28 at the time and required very little sleep. And I mean, the efforts, I guess, paid off. Basically, when 20th Century Fox heard this, they were impressed by what he had done with this movie with that little bit of a turnaround. And so that's what got him to work on Predator 2.
Oh, okay, cool.
So he wanted to include more gothic imagery than the previous films had. And so he was instrumental in adding the footage of like the towers and kind of the castle and like dungeon, like, you know, set pieces that we see for the like hospital asylum.
Okay.
Which I think is interesting because that's kind of what, you know, with Jason Lives, Tom McLaughlin was also like, I want to do like more gothic looks to certain parts of this film and things. For the climactic scene of Freddy and Alice and Jacob and Dan on the stair maze, he was inspired by the work of Dutch graphic designer M.C. Escher, who is known for his like impossible objects and buildings and staircases and things like that. It seems to be based on his stair maze, which is called Relativity. But he really wanted to take things into the next level. And Robert Englund has said that during his first time talking with Hopkins, he had made like a crude drawing on a napkin of like this whole stair maze, and that it got Englund like hooked on the idea and was like, oh yeah, no, this guy has cool ideas. And then the final editing was very challenging due to, like most of these movies, the MPAA causing, you know, demanding that they cut a lot of the on-screen violence and gore. The most altered sequences were for Dan and Greta, and they were edited down several times in order to get the R rating. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the initial VHS release had the uncut deaths in that. But even on the Blu-ray that I have now, like, you didn't even see that as like alternative, like, you know, cut scenes.
So it's funny because this is the second movie in a row that we've talked about like a ratings board making the director cut a bunch of stuff, because the last one, and Friday 7 is remarkably cut apart. You can tell no issues. You can just watch it and see that that's what happened. I don't see that in this one. There's plenty of gore in this one.
I think they changed it up of like how they were going to do the kill instead of just cutting it outright.
Fair enough.
And so they made it a little more silly than they initially wanted.
Do you mean like Motorcycle Man?
Mommy, meet my friend.
Nice try, Alice. Thanks, babe. It's my new look. Like it?
Mommy?
Come downstairs. He won't hurt you. He needs us both.
I've got you both.
Come on, Jacob. It's time to go home. Jacob, run!
Come on. Come on. Come to Papa. Jacob.
Jacob. It's all right, son.
Dan?
Now come with me.
Jacob, he's not your father!
No, I am your father. I've been waiting to do that since I picked that clip out.
Wow.
I know.
I'm impressed.
Yeah, dude. That's Peter Griffin from Family Guy.
You told me what the clip was, and like I still didn't think of where the joke might come.
Hey, Stewie, I cut off your arm. I would have got that. Or I won't. And everyone will learn that I do the voice of Peter Griffin of Family Guy.
Yeah, that is that clip is from the kind of the end of the movie.
Well, what's funny is it's from that MC Escher staircase sequence.
Yeah.
The coolest set piece in any of these movies so far.
Absolutely.
And I love Dream Warriors so much. I love that fucking movie so much.
Yeah.
But this movie has way cooler visuals in it.
Yeah.
From set pieces. The thing that this movie suffers from is its makeup is not great.
Yeah, it's not as high quality. They do a lot of interesting things in this movie, but yeah, you can definitely see the seams.
Ironically, we discussed Horror Nights
Mhm.
so much in this episode. I described it to you as it looks more like Halloween Horror Nights makeup than movie makeup.
Yeah.
It's like feels kind of rushed, and knowing that they only had 4 fucking weeks to shoot this makes a lot of sense, but it looks rushed and very quickly put together. The scene with Greta and like her expanded cheeks you can see like the crud from those blended lines not being very well blended, all the way down to like Freddy looks like plastic.
Yeah, and he gets worse, but this is definitely
The beginning.
yes.
Yeah.
You start seeing that. The thing that I really realized on this is the Freddy performance. How jokey he is probably my least favorite part of this movie.
It's not my least favorite part of the movie. I don't mind it to this level.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
It's not I prefer him in like Dream Warrior, Dream Master, where he's still really like cruel, but he has one-liners.
Yeah.
In this one, they value the one-liner more than they value like his cruelty.
Yeah, that's what it is.
But Robert still plays him like a psychopath. He still plays him like pure evil. So I can still kind of get behind it. But the next one is where it's like it's gone out the window for me. He doesn't act like Freddy, because I don't think he wanted to do the next movie.
Yeah.
He doesn't act like Freddy, and it kind of falls apart. But in this one, he's still got it. So that doesn't kill the vibe for me.
Yeah. No, I think his performance is good. I want more horror out of my horror movie.
Well, and what's funny is that I want better performances out of because I don't think his performance is bad.
No.
I think his performance is great. The thing I shit talked last for Nightmare was all about like the thing I'm upset about the most from that movie is the performances. Because I think several of them are not great.
Yeah.
But specifically Alice's, who is like our secondary. No, I guess at that point, Kristen is our secondary protagonist in Dream Master because Alice becomes the primary antagonist or primary. She is the antagonist, but just for me because I'm screaming at the TV the whole time, like use your face, emote. But in this one, and we open with her, and she is much better in this one.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was acting classes. I don't know if it was a genie's wish or she just got her big ass forehead out of her ass. But either way, she does a very, very good job in this.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely an improved performance. She's got some odd line delivery at times that I bump into.
Sure.
But I think overall, hugely improved.
Night and day.
Yes.
And this is, so I made the joke. For those eagle-eyed listeners out there, you'll recall that in Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, there several times in these movies cut to a classroom. And the thing in Halloween, even as recently as in Weapons, they cut to a classroom, and that classroom's board carries something with the theme. The lesson is the theme of the movie, and that's a fun way to kind of be a little bit more direct about that. And in Freddy's Revenge, Nightmare 2, the lesson was about shit. That's literally how it begins. It's about processing waste from your colon.
He's not wrong.
I'm not wrong. So that then it's crazy that you can do a setup payoff that many movies out because they set that up in 2. And then in this one, literal poopy water comes like bursting out of a shower that Alice is in.
Wow. Yeah. When you put it like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, she gets in this like stall shower with the glass door, and then it starts overflowing.
It's a good effect. I like how it's both coming from like the drain and the faucet. It's like, and she has a really believable like, oh fuck, and then she tries to turn it off, and then when it isn't turning off, she realizes what's happening, and it's like that horror washes over her face, and then the horror washes over my face as it fills all the way up, and I'm like, that is some frosted glass with some aluminum siding that is going to explode any second now, but doesn't for a long time.
No. Instead, it bursts out, and she falls into. It's a later reveal, basically into this long, dirty hallway that is like part of this giant asylum, hospital, mental institution.
Yeah, and that kind of becomes Freddy's boiler room in this one. Is like it is more often actually. As I think about it, I don't think they show his boiler room at all.
Not really.
I think it is this hospital.
Yeah, there's like boiler room-esque things in this hospital, but
yeah, but it's either that or an MC Escher painting and then a church at one point.
Yeah.
But yeah. And she's walking, and this is kind of it's a cool.
I love this whole sequence.
Yeah, it's a cool like split focus wherein we're following her, but she is following a story that is playing out in front of her.
But then like sometimes she's witnessing it and sometimes she's part of it.
Sometimes, yeah. And what we will later find out is that what she is witnessing and on occasion is like she becomes the character in this dream of Freddy's mother, Amanda.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she, it fleshes out the story of the bastard son of 1,000 maniacs,
Which is cool because we didn't get any of that in the last movie.
Yeah. I think the last movie cared more about establishing the sequel future of the kids that we meet in Dream Warrior. But I think this one is like, well, we don't have anything to flesh out with those kids because only one of them is alive and we know a lot about her. So now we can flesh Freddy back out. And I think that, I think Robert Englund loves getting fleshed out. So
yeah, he said that this was his favorite scene to shoot here in the asylum at the beginning because we cut to the infamous night that Amanda Kruger was locked in the worst wing of this asylum with 100 maniacs, and Robert Shea is one of them, and then a unmasked, unmakeupped Robert Englund is also there. But he said that he loved shooting this scene. There was like no crew; it was just him and 100 extras. And this tiny little, I guess they had like a little crane camera that would come down and be able to do those sweeping shots across the whole group.
Now, you and I agreed that though Robert Englund is in the scene without makeup, obviously Freddy's father is Robert Shea.
Yeah.
That's obvious to me.
Yeah, he birthed him.
He birthed him out of his loins.
But
you also pointed out something fucking hysterical, which is there are two orderlies and they're standing up on like a platform looking down at all these shambling maniacs. And he's like literally like 98, 99. Great. Everyone's accounted for. And you're like, is that the best way to do this is to count them all off? And I was like, dude, they're fucking babbling maniac. Like, you can't be like, all right, everybody line up. They'll just start barking at you. Like you have to just kind of like chicken count them.
But that's how they lose track of, one of their nuns who's also in there.
She's screaming bloody murder. And they're like, oh God, listen to that one. Looks like he dressed up like a nun, freak.
Where did he get those sheets? But yeah, they lock her in, and the inmates descend on her, and still Alice as the nun is she wakes screaming in bed, and then Dan is beside her. And then he falls. He pops up to kind of comfort her, and he falls out of frame. And then Robert Englund, as the
maniac,
inmate, pops up and like grabs her. And then the camera pushes in on their struggle. And then he also falls out of frame. And when the camera pulls back out, he is nowhere to be seen. It's amazing camera work. I love this. Like I said, this whole sequence I think is shot really, really interestingly.
It's shot really interesting, but it's a really wordless way to explain to your audience what is going on and to draw the parallel between Amanda and Freddy and, Alice, Dan, and who would later be named Jacob. Their wee child.
Yes. And then it is graduation day, the class of 89.
Every time I refer to the dream child, it's going to be like, I'm going to do like the Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no, please, mother, don't let me get taken by Freddy Krueger. I don't know why. That's what I'm doing in this episode.
Just to reintroduce, Alice Johnson is played by Lisa Wilcox. She was in Give Me an F, that cheerleader comedy with Jennifer Cook from Friday 6. She would later be in Watchers Reborn, a 1998 horror film directed by John Carl Buechler and starring Mark Hamill.
And, that old chestnut who watches whatever that title was.
And then Dan Jordan, her boyfriend, is played by Danny Hassel, and he reprises his role from The Dream Master, and he would later be in The China Lake Murders, a 1990 TV thriller, and Reunion from Hell 2, in 2022, starring Lisa Wilcox and Mark Patton. The others I'll introduce later because there's a better scene to do that in, but we are kind of introduced quickly to all of their friends, very similar to the scene in at the school in The Dream Master.
Yeah.
Where it's just kind of like, okay, here are our friends and here are their little idiosyncrasies and what we're going to kill them with later.
Now, what I'm happy about with this one is that not only does this serve a narrative purpose instead of just school starting, it's like it serves a purpose. It's what is happening in their lives.
Yeah.
It also establishes immediately all of their relationships with each other, but also like where they are in life, like as people, because it's their graduation. It also serves to establish where Alice is with her father. Yeah, no, this is a much better way to introduce a smorgasbord of characters all at once.
Far better. I'll just go over kind of what their things are here. Greta is a aspiring model, but is reluctant to do so. Her
Yeah, she
mother
hates her life because and the mother is such a like Delia Dietz caricature, like is wearing stripy clothes. And it's like, Greta, you must come over and meet the cameraman. And it's like ridiculous.
Yes. And just hugely overbearing.
Yeah.
Hugely, Greta, you have to watch what you eat. All of that. It's the thing that the Nightmare movies do, which is establish just how terrible pretty much all the parents are.
Oh, yeah. Oh, big time.
I mean, they're the reason that any of this happened in the first place.
But what's funny is that this one, I think, does that the least. Because the only two people, I think, in this group photo that have parents that we either meet or they just have are Alice and Greta.
Yeah, we see Mark's dad for a second, and he makes a comment, and that's the only time we really see him.
Yeah, and he's like hardcore hitting on Greta's mother, and he's like a short little he seems like a car salesman-y type. Yeah, he was fun. I liked him. Yeah,
Mark is a comic book fan and an artist, and then he is later revealed to have a phobia of blood. And then Yvonne is a hospital volunteer, and she is a swimmer and diver at the school.
Yeah, which is a weird writing your story and being like, okay, yeah, this girl is really pretty and she's going to be the model. And this guy's kind of nerdy and he likes comic books. I don't know. This one's like a volunteer nurse who does diving. Yeah. That's fine. And it's like, what? Why those things? It's like, because I was in the hospital watching the Olympics earlier. Yeah. So,
I was high on the drugs that they give you in a hospital, and then I was writing the scripts because I only had 7 days to do it.
What's funny is I pulled that from a real world thing that happened where in the waiting room of a hospital, I like in an emergency room, they were playing like whatever the Olympics are that have diving. So now I relate the Olympics to hospitals.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dan has tickets for he and Alice to go to Paris for the summer. And Alice tries to explain to him about her bad dream. But it's basically, he doesn't take it seriously of just like, you haven't lost control like that since the events of The Dream Master. And then we were reintroduced to Alice's father, who Dennis Johnson is played by Nicholas Mealy. But he was in Mommy Dearest, the psychological drama in 1981, and then the drama film Torchlight from 1984, and reprising his role here. I love her dad in this movie.
Yeah, he's great. He is as good a character as he was a piece of shit in the last
Exactly.
one. Yeah.
It is. I love the growth here. And you see it here, and then you really see it once the pregnancy reveal happens.
Yes. And after it's revealed of like, I don't want everybody to think your fucking drunk dad's like treating you poorly or whatever, so I hid behind the bleachers. He also becomes like really sympathetic. And it's like, oh, you poor guy.
Yeah. But it seems like, he has taken seriously the things that happened to, his son was killed in the last film. His daughter was traumatized, and like he has done some work to try and, better himself.
And even still after everything, the second that Alice is like, oh, it's Freddy, by the way, he's like, oh, come on. We had rehabs and therapies about this. Why do you still believe this thing that definitely happened?
But speaking of Freddy, as Alice leaves the graduation, she's like walking through the park.
Yeah, that's a weird thing that happens where she's like, yeah, I'm going to go like out.
Because she has to go to work. Everybody else is like, we're going to have a party tonight. And Yvonne has the keys to the swimming pool. And so we're all going to have a pool party. And she's like, oh, well, I have to work. Because she's still working at that diner.
The
Crave Inn.
So I bet, because I don't think he liked it in 4. I think Wes was probably mad about that. But by this point, he's furious. He's like, keep my name out of your stupid fucking movie. If I had 4 weeks to shoot, I would have shot a masterpiece. And they're like, Wes, please. He's on set, fucking shooting interns with a frozen paintball.
But yeah, she's going to work.
Yes.
She walks through this park, and then she hears and sees the kids, jumping, skipping rope, and
the white
doing
clad blonde girls doing the Freddy nursery rhyme.
Yeah,
and she just like, I don't think it was meant to be this way, but the way I take it is she's like, and she gets really pissed because she's like, and then just starts to fucking like stop, and she's chasing them through the woods.
Yeah, and like it's through the bushes of this park or whatever, and the camera work is interesting. The lighting is what's really interesting in this scene to me,
because it's a really good transition from daytime to nighttime.
Yes,
yeah,
and then as she reaches this clearing, and she is like looks up at what she is now seeing, which I guess is on the edge of this town. It's like all the shadows shift as the light rig, I assume, spun around. And so it's just really impressive to watch.
Yeah.
And then the other thing that's really impressive is this giant matte painting.
Yes. Yeah. I am such a sucker for a matte painting. It's a shame we don't get them anymore because, yes, you can tell that that's what that is. Great. It's beautiful.
Looks
it's art.
amazing.
Yeah.
And she follows a nun who is on the stairs there up into this, asylum.
And then she says, what's black, white, and red all over? And pushes that nun down the stairs.
I must have got up and gone to the bathroom. I don't know.
No, it happened. Trust me.
And then kind of what we've seen as a running theme in the last couple of movies is we see like the medieval torture version of a like baby carriage.
Yes.
Just kind of rolling around the hallways.
Well, Freddy was like, because if you'll recall, Freddy was in Dream Warrior was like, well, what am I going to do with this torture wheelchair that I built? He just turned into a wizard. Like, what am I going to do with it? So he's like, oh, I'll hold on to it, in case I ever need to torture, I don't know, Franklin from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Which he should.
Yeah. And he was like, I'll hold on to it. And then he heard like a baby crying on an airplane. And he was like, oh, God, I wish I had some like torture, like straw. I got it. And then he built one.
That's good.
Thank you.
Waste not, want not.
I've said 2 things now that aren't true. Not only is that a bit, but the nun big push down the stairs thing is also a bit. Just in case.
I always wonder, because I have to assume that people have watched the movie when they're listening.
Caroline has never watched one of these movies.
But then that makes it even funnier that like there are certain times where you say things and I'll be like, yeah, that definitely happened. And I'm like, does my tone, is it understandable that no, it actually didn't? And if not, oh well.
Hey, Caroline, all the things that I just said did happen.
Yeah, they did. So Alice, again, we flash to her. She's now screaming. She's on a gurney and she's led into surgery. And then this is what I mean by like she is the nun and then she isn't the nun, because another cool piece of photography here is like she's wheeled in and the doctors are all around, and the camera, I believe it's an uncut shot of her on the gurney, and then the camera pulls away from her face and slowly kind of rotates past all of the nurses and the doctors and everything. And when it gets to the other end of the gurney, she is now standing there looking down.
Like she has gotten up, did a quick costume change, and then when they cut back to the gurney, that person has then gotten on the gurney.
Yes.
You know what that reminds me of? And this is going to be a weird pull.
Okay.
It reminds me of the end of The First Omen.
Okay.
Do you remember when they have her in that room and the camera, it's a oneer and it goes around all of the people involved?
Yes.
And I don't want to give spoilers to anybody who hasn't seen The First Omen because that movie is incredible and you should see it. But that's what that reminds me of.
That's a good pull. And yes, the woman gives birth to a
Voldemort. Let's call it what it is. Gives birth to a stinky train station afterlife Voldemort.
Yeah, that's what he looks like. That's what that was the question you posed. Is this what Freddy looked like as a baby?
Yeah, because we see this twice. We see this like Freddy fetus monster that looks like Robert Englund, but just little and meaty. We see it twice. We see it here, and then we see it towards the end when, and I mean, there's no good way to put this, when his mother just shoves him back inside of herself with magic. So it's not too gross. But yeah, is that what it's supposed to? Because like the doctor, she's like, I took it as Alice reliving Amanda Kruger's memories through dreams. And so is it? Because the doctor's like,
what is this?
Remember, this is a gift from God.
Yes.
And she's like, that is no gift of God. And it's like, did he look like that?
He must have.
Because like, then how does he grow up to look normal?
Oh, yeah.
Because then he gets burned. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume not. I'm going to assume it's the dream logic here.
Probably. But he crawls out the door and Alice follows him, and then it's magically dream logicked into the church from the end of the last film.
Reminds me of the first Gremlin you see.
I'm
just gonna, and then it runs away, and it's like, what the fuck? Someone get that thing! Somebody shoot that with a firearm.
And the baby Freddy, he like reaches the clothing that he died in that is now still on the ground. And when he touches it, and he like shrieks into the ceiling.
Yeah.
And then he crawls into his own clothing. And then in an amazing special effects sequence, I think this is the most impressive special effect in this movie. Yes.
This or the set piece that we've talked about a couple times on the stairs. It's one of those two.
Yeah. But he like, his body rebuilds. And it's the shot of his hand like stretching out, and his arm like fills to like the correct proportion as he slides his hand into the glove for the first time.
But then you immediately pull back out, and his arm is like Mr. Fantastic, like way too long.
Yeah.
But what I like about that is that it's Long Arm Freddy, who's the best Freddy.
Yeah, he's our favorite Freddy.
Yeah, everyone knows that Derek and I stan a Long Armed Freddy.
That we do.
And he's like, I'm back. And it's just the hero reveal. We talked in Jason Lives, which is Friday 6. We talk about how that's a movie that treats Jason like the hero of the movie. It treats him like the icon that he is at that point. This reveal does that for Freddy.
Yeah.
He's in front of shattered stained glass in a broken down church with one really weird long arm and the claw on the other. And he's just like, nah. And it looks really good.
Yeah, it really does. It's an interest, and like that whole side of him is like longer than it should be because his leg is also not fully formed right yet.
Yeah, you and I talked about the fact that in this movie, for whatever reason, many times in this movie, they're just like, what if Freddy just cut himself apart for no reason? Like, what if Freddy just tore pieces of himself off?
Which, I mean, that's been there since the beginning. Like him cutting his fingers off and him like, like ripping his chest open and like tearing his like scalp away to show his brain.
What if Freddy looks the way that he does, not because of burns, but because he is part axolotl?
I mean,
it's possible.
It is possible.
We'll never know. They stopped making those movies.
And then Amanda Kruger in nun form.
Yes.
She appears to stop him.
And it is like the opposite shot of the ending of this movie where all of the doors kind of shut in an order. It's like a snap. The camera snaps around and the doors blow open and she's just standing there. And
it
she's
looks like a music video.
It does, like a Linkin Park music video. And she's like, I have grown or so, whatever. I don't like that band, but she's standing way out the background. And she's like, I'm not letting you do this shit again. Go fuck yourself. And no, what's funny is she says like, I won't let you take any more lives. I'm going to have to end yours. And then in a line that I think they thought was going to be way cooler.
Yeah.
Freddy goes, no exaggeration, Freddy goes, we'll see, bitch. We'll just see. And he vanishes into smoke like a diva, like a fucking queen. He is serving cunt out the cunt, dude. And I love
mean, Charlie made a good point that Freddy is queer coded. So
for sure. It is just his look of disgust at seeing his mother's face and then calling her a bitch with zero hesitation.
Yeah. Amazing.
It is amazing.
Amanda Kruger is played by Beatrice Bopel. Bopel. I don't know how to pronounce it. But she also played a nun in Shoot to Kill, a cop drama from 1988. She was in Matinee, a slasher from 89.
She played a nun in that?
I don't believe so.
Oh, okay.
And then she was in the sci-fi film Quarantine from 1989 and has done some sporadic TV work.
Now, Bopel is that weird tapioca ball tea, right?
Mm-hmm,
okay.
I love it.
That's a weird.
They got those thick straws.
Yeah, it's weird that would be her name.
Yeah. She was the first to invent that. But Alice leaves the church and is then dream logicked into her diner where she's 4 hours late to work.
Yeah.
And so it's that thing of like, oh my God, I've lost all this time to this thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, and the question also is, at least that I have, and they kind of don't pay this off at all, and it kind of goes nowhere. But I was like, oh, is this being explained as like she used to have really severe daydreams?
Mm-hmm.
And is Freddy like, because he kind of started to permeate her daydreams, is he doing that here now? But it leaves the question of, well, how is this happening?
Right.
But she calls Daniel Day-Lewis,
and
she's like, Dan, help me.
They're at the pool
back.
Party, and this is where I'll just do this real quick. Greta Gibson is played by Erica Anderson. She was in Twin Peaks for 3 episodes. And then she was in Shadows of the Past, which is a suspense thriller in 91, and Quake, a thriller from 92. Mark Gray, our comic book guy, is played by Joe Seeley. He was in Armed and Dangerous, which is a 1986 film with John Candy. And he was in The Iron Triangle, which was a war drama, and Pedestrian, a satire from 2000. And our diver/nurse is Yvonne Miller, played by Kelly Jo Minter. She was in The Lost Boys.
Uh-oh.
In 1987. She plays Maria, apparently, but I wouldn't know because I've never seen that movie yet. And she was also in the slasher film Popcorn and People Under the Stairs, directed by Wes Craven.
What do you think is scarier, The Lost Boys or a Spooky Skeleton?
Ooh, I don't know, man. I've seen one of them.
What if it's Kiefer Sutherland with his blonde hair, but he's a skeleton?
Ooh, that's the worst.
It's like the Goosebumps skeleton. Yeah.
But yeah, she calls Dan and is like, I need your help. And so Dan, being the good boyfriend that he is, he hops in his truck and he drives too fast down the road.
Okay. Now, I'm going to go through this pretty quick because it's confusing and strange. And also, every movie for the last 3 movies, you and I have been like, oh, this is when the guy turns into a motorcycle.
Yeah.
But then we're wrong. And then this time I was like, oh, this has got to be it. You were like, yeah. And then it doesn't happen. And we were like, oh, man, it's not this one. And you're like, no, wait, it's happening. And then it was amazing. So Dan gets into a truck, like a dirty old, like kind of jalopy-ish truck. And he's driving it very quickly, and it's like the radio is like and now we're gonna talk to Dan's mom, and then there's this woman's voice, and like you wouldn't notice if you weren't directly listening to it because people drive with the radio on in movies, but then it's like, yeah, my son was doing really well until he married that dirty bitch Alice, and he's like, Mom, and then claws come out of the radio and tear like a little mouth into it, but then Dan turns to his right and Freddy's just sitting there. Like, he doesn't come out of the radio.
No, he's just there.
He's just sitting there. And then I don't really remember what he says. It's probably some dope one-liner shit.
Yeah, well, because Dan has this bottle of champagne that he was going to celebrate graduation with Alice with. And so Freddy is seen... the claws come out of the radio, and then Dan is like wrapped in a bunch of seatbelts to keep him held in place. And then he looks over, and Freddy is like driving with a secondary
steering wheel,
and
driving from
he's
the passenger seat,
drinking the champagne, and then he just spits it up all over the dashboard, and it's like burning like acid.
And it's like sizzling his arm.
Yeah, because he like pours it all over his shoulder. And then rips his arm off.
Yeah. Again, Freddy tears his body apart for a bunch of weird shit. And the weird shit here is that he then sticks his arm into the corner of the cabin ceiling so he can click it like a seatbelt with his hand.
It's great.
It is so strange.
And then he forces the truck then to slam into into an oncoming semi.
Yeah.
And Dan goes like flying out of the windshield, and then he is back at the pool.
Yeah.
And so he then runs back outside, and he doesn't have his keys for his truck then. And it's kind of like, it's almost setting us up for the fake out of in the Dream Master. Every time they would run out to the truck, it repeated itself like 3 or 4 times.
Right. But instead, he goes out to the truck. He cannot find his keys. So he finds there's like a red crotch rocket motorcycle.
Yeah, which is in the back of his truck in the last movie. So it is set up.
It's probably his then.
Yeah.
Well, he gets on it and he starts it up and he starts to drive.
Far too fast.
Yeah. He rides it down the street. And it's so bizarre. He's riding it. And then Freddy's, like the fuel tank becomes like a Freddy's face made of wires and like pieces of metal that are like broken to make his teeth. And he's got one lit up eyeball and one eyeball that's just like a button. And he's like, "You got the need for speed, Dan." And then the bike breaks apart, like cables and wires and shit.
And they start like kind of feeding into Dan.
Like into his knuckles, and like one of them is like a big long tube with a bunch of spikes that sticks into his calf.
Yeah, and it almost like rips his skin off as he's kind of absorbed into the machinery of the bike. This was a lot more elaborate apparently originally.
I mean, it's pretty elaborate still.
Yeah, I know, but it's apparently there was just more to it.
Well, what it ends up being is he's like this skull plate man who's like got these sunken in eyes and a bald head. And then like his skin looks almost like armor plates.
Yeah.
And then underneath it is a bunch of mechanism and like wiring and stuff. And he is connected hand and feet to then the mechanism of the bike, which is also crumpled to pieces and on fire.
Yeah. Watching this, it really reminds me, and I've never seen this film. I just know kind of the art style of it and the effects for it. There's a Japanese like cyberpunk sci-fi horror film called Tetsuo, the Iron Man. And so I thought this must be a reference to that, because the way that the wires and the machinery kind of blend with his skin and everything like that, it's very similar to Tetsuo. But Tetsuo had only come out in like July of that year.
Oh, weird.
So it was only a couple months. So maybe it was just similar thoughts.
Yeah. It is handled very strangely. His face specifically looks really weird. I mean, it's not bad. It's memorable.
Yeah.
It's just very different from things we've seen in this series.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. But again, Freddy forces him then in front of a semi. And this time it is for real. And Alice hears the crash. And so she comes running out of the diner to find a semi that is wrecked. And as she approaches, the driver hops out and he has blood all over his face, but he is wearing a red sweater and a dirty, crumpled fedora.
And he's like, you just came pulled out right in front of me. Oh my God. And it's like, why do you look like that? I think it's to serve as a split second jump scare to the audience. Like, oh, Fred. Okay. No.
Yeah.
But Freddy's not, I don't know. It's hard to do a jump scare with Freddy. He's a silly guy.
Yeah. And then what's stranger is that whenever it's revealed that Dan has been in this crash, but he is in a crash in his truck from the first part of the dream.
Oh, yeah, because when she has the vision of him dying, it's him as the motorcycle man.
Yeah.
But not the bike. The bike doesn't go to dream hell. Just him.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes down there for having unprotected sex. We all know that. Well, kind of in a way, this film plays with that. It plays with that and themes of like, teen pregnancy and the expectations that come of that and abortion. And it plays with a lot of really kind of women's issues that are very kind of modern that unfortunately are kind of on the chopping block.
Yeah.
Or have already been chopped, which is fucking wild that we live way back before Nightmare on Elm Street 5.
Yeah.
But anyway,
but
she's sad.
Yes, and she wakes from the nightmare of this in the hospital.
Yeah.
And it is revealed to her that, yes, Dan is dead.
But also, bitch, you having a baby.
Yes. And, you know, Yvonne works in the hospital there, but she is trying to comfort Alice, but like does not believe her in any way about Freddy or anything that's going on.
Yeah.
The doctor reveals that she is pregnant. And they leave her alone for a second to kind of rest. And then she wakes up to this little boy who's standing at her door.
And he's a child from one of the Jurassic Parks.
Yeah, Jacob is played by Whit Hertford. He was in an episode of The Twilight Zone, the 1985 revival series. And then he was in Poltergeist 2, Rampage, a 87 crime drama, The Addams Family, 1991. He plays Little Tully. He was in a slasher movie called Mikey in 92, and then he's in Jurassic Park. And then strangely, he was in My Summer Story in 1994, which is a family comedy directed by Bob Clark. And it's one of those weird sequels to A Christmas Story.
It's so weird.
But they have a little conversation here, and it's just kind of a, you know, we don't know at the time that who this kid is.
But he's basically like, yeah, my dad just died and my mommy doesn't know me. And she's like, oh, the poor wee baby Jacob. I feel so bad for you. And he's like, it's okay, mommy. And she's like, why are you calling me that, you wee cunt? Get the fuck away from me. I'm an ogre.
Yeah. So, of course, then because of that exchange, the next day, Alice has to ask who that boy was.
To which her friend is like, there's no kids on your floor, bud.
And
like,
we don't even have a kid wing here at the hospital.
This is what annoys me. It makes sense from a writing perspective, but this almost at this point feels like a crutch because it's like, we don't need to spend any more time having anyone else believe her. Just, we've done that movie after movie after movie. It's the same thing of like, we never need to learn about Uncle Ben getting shot by
what?
No more rice. But it's the thing of like, you know, we don't ever need to see Batman's parents get killed in an alleyway.
What?
We don't need to spend any more time with these people saying you're crazy. There's no such thing as a Krueger. It's like, we know there is. We're all watching these movies.
What?
Rule 3.
Yeah.
Come here and fuck me.
What happened to us?
I don't know. This show.
But yeah, no, I agree. Yvonne and her other friends are like, whenever in this next scene, they kind of have a little moment where they're talking, and she explains the history of Freddy Krueger and everything that's gone on, and they don't take her seriously at first, but they're still like, but we support you, and we're going to, you know, he's going to have to go through us to get to you. But then Yvonne is the holdout through the majority of the rest of this movie. We have this nice little moment between Alice and her dad, who takes the pregnancy very well. He's one of the only parents of this entire franchise that has shown any sort of like improvement. And I don't know, I've already said it, but yeah, I like his character in this a lot.
Yeah, no, I do too. From here,
we're at Greta's dinner party.
It's just Beetlejuice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I can't.
Oh my God, why have I not thought about that?
I can't separate myself from Beetlejuice here. It is a dinner party filled with like pompous, effete, like debutante people. And Greta is like losing her fucking mind. Because she's like, the mom's like, why aren't you smiling? Why aren't you having fun? She's like, because I just had a fucking friend of mine die. And then her mom's like, well, you didn't know him very well. He wasn't your best friend. It's like, the fuck's going on? Oh, she's asleep. Okay, that's what's going on.
And it's kind of hinted at, I guess, because right before this scene, there is a short sequence where we're shown Greta like crying in her bed. We assume her bedroom, surrounded by all these like porcelain dolls.
Yeah.
And she's crying over the pictures of Dan. And so I assume that like Greta had a thing for Dan, but Dan was with Alice.
Yeah, either that or it's like in the time that's passed, in like the years that have passed between 4 and 5, they've become the closest friends. It's like Hermione would cry over Harry.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good point.
But you've got this odd sequence of events where she's screaming at her mother, like, "We always make me control what I eat anyway. You know, you're the fucking worst." And the mother's like, "Meh," and she's like, "Meh," and they're just kind of doing that back and forth. And then Freddy in a chef's outfit.
Yeah.
I-
Well, and what I love is kind of it. So in the last movie, there's that scene where he's like dressed as the nurse,
Mhm.
but it's Robert Englund not in makeup.
Mhm.
In this, if you watch the dinner scene, there's a waiter who like he pops up and he keeps dropping things off, and he's always shown from like the bridge of the nose down. And so, but it's Robert Englund.
It's very clear, yeah.
And then
That's
it's
funny.
finally like he whips around and he's in the makeup, and he
Now-
puts her in a torture high chair.
Yes, which he had leftover
That was
parts
this-
from
yeah.
the wheelchair,
Yeah.
so he just slapped them together. Now, okay, we've got long arms Freddy, tuxedo Freddy,
Love him.
sunglasses Freddy.
Oh, one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would put sunglasses over tuxedo, but long arms is still at the top.
long arms Freddy. Okay. All right. What about one long arm, one long leg Freddy?
I like that one too.
Yeah.
I think it's cool.
I think all the Freddys are good, but this one's not my favorite. He then pulls out a plate of, and I'm not sure what this is supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's like yucky meat,
Mm-hmm.
and he's making her eat it. And then he's using his like the blades of his glove like chopsticks.
But there's like a spoon head, like in between them. It's like two of his fingers have now formed a spoon.
and he's doing like he's scooping shit out, and he's like, "Try it." And she's like, "No, I don't want." And then he's like, "It's, you know what it is? It's this is not pudding."
Yes.
scene.
Okay. I'm glad you got there because otherwise that was
'Cause
my
it's
next
like-
reference.
It's obviously Jello,
Uh-huh.
and he's just like shoving it into her mouth, and then it cuts for a second away, and then we cut back, and she has these humongous cheeks, like. They're like the size of ass cheeks. They're huge, and they stick out from her face, and she's all wide-eyed, and she's like, and he's like, "Oh, hopefully you don't choke or whatever."
Yeah.
This is, I think, and I mentioned it earlier, but this is, I think, the worst looking effects.
Mm-hmm.
It's the ugliest set piece. It's like the least interesting kill. And yeah, I don't like the way any of her facial makeup looks. It's just, it all feels so like last minute.
Yeah, and this was one of those sequences where they also trimmed, because initially what it was supposed to be revealed is that he was feeding her, and then eventually she looks down and he has gutted her and he is feeding her own entrails.
That would have been interesting.
Because there's like one shot where it shows her like looking through like it almost looks like a rib cage through something. And I think that's still a holdover from that moment, but like you don't get any other context for it.
Okay. Yeah, that would have been interesting. But it cuts back to her in the real world, and she's like gasping for air and like
Right.
flailing. And then her mom's like, "Oh my God, Greta, shut the fuck up. We're trying to have a party." And then she dies.
Yeah, but before that, we cut to Alice because Alice keeps having flashes of these people's dreams as they're dying.
Which is why Dan is a motorcycle.
And so Alice is looking in the fridge at home, and then she has a vision that her food like rots in front of her, and it's a really cool like stop motion. It looks
Yeah.
like the end of Evil Dead, claymation, the way that it forms, and then like the camera pulls back, and Greta's like half of her body is popping out of the inside of the fridge door.
Yeah, like the door shelves. Yeah.
And as Alice tries to pull her out, then Freddy comes out of the actual fridge and slams the door closed. And that's when she finally chokes and collapses on the table, dying in real life.
And then Alice is like, "Oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck." And she opens the door to the fridge, and it's regular food. And she's like, "Oh, thank God. I thought all my food had gone bad."
Yeah. It's the worst. Nothing could be worse.
Yeah, there's like a hurricane or whatever. Do you have any idea how expensive it will be to get groceries and toilet paper?
Yeah.
Stop buying toilet paper when there's a hurricane, guys. It's real dumb. Don't do it.
But then Alice and Yvonne go to visit Mark, and he apparently lives in the warehouse from the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, he lives in a silly little factory where he makes imagination and dreams.
Yeah.
He's a weird character. His actor looks just like young James Woods,
Yeah.
who's
he
a
really
piece
does.
of shit. So I hate this guy.
But Mark is, very upset about Greta's death because he was in love with her and that was never going to work out.
Which is funny because, see, I think it was.
Yeah, you think he was winning her over?
Their performances in the beginning indicate to me that,
Yeah.
I could see that happening.
Like, yeah. No, I get that. She's sweet on him.
Funny
and again,
trumps sexy. That's my whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm uglier as a lamppost hit by a car and smashed into a million pieces, but I can make somebody giggle.
Okay.
You were supposed to giggle a little bit.
Nope.
You're doing it.
Not doing
You're
it.
doing
Not gonna do it. I'm not gonna laugh in front of you assholes.
Watch this, ready? Watch. Ha ha ha. Oh, Derek, look, you laughed. They don't know. They can't tell it's not you.
That's just canned laughter you had Ty put in.
Yeah.
But Alice agrees to keep him company that night. And there's a little sequence where like she goes to get him coffee to keep him awake, and then he falls asleep when she's gone. And then he's in a drawing that he made of the Elm Street house.
Yeah.
And so then she like blue skidoos herself into the painting as well.
That's amazing. Because she totally does.
Yeah. And then she ends up going into the house, and Mark is being like sucked down into this hole, like this portal in the floor.
Mm-hmm.
And she pulls him out, and it seals itself. And then he notices like blood on his hands. And so he passes out and then disappears through the floor, like in this little puff of smoke, which is like, it's a cool effect.
Sure.
It's simple enough, but I enjoy it. And then the camera kind of moves over, and again, Jacob, the kid, is there, and they have their little exchange, he and Alice, and he's just like, my mom doesn't want me around, and she's like, no, I'm sure she does. He's like, no, you don't want me. Why do you not want me? Why do you not want me around? And I go back and forth on this kid's performance.
I think he's not the worst.
Yeah. I will say, with these rewatches, this is the least annoyed I've been with him in my entire life.
He seems fine.
Yeah. He's a kid.
Yeah. And then he's like, why don't you want me? And Alice is like, get in my belly, which is also Shrek. In a way.
In a way. But I like this sequence because he runs away and goes up the stairs, and she follows him. And when she gets to the top of the stairs, she's now back in the warehouse with Mark.
Yeah.
And this is where she's finally put together that Jacob is her baby and that Freddie wants something with him. So they schedule an ultrasound, and she goes back to the hospital with Yvonne. And Yvonne is like, look, we can do this, but this is my job. Please don't mention any of that Freddie stuff, any of this dream stuff. Nonsense. Knock it off.
You're going to get me fucking fired.
And so as soon as the doctor comes in and gets started, she's like, hey, so anyway, do babies dream? And if so,
would it be possible if a burnt up claw demon, if he possessed people by their dreams, could he do that to babies? Yvonne's like, God damn it, I'm going to have to die for a living now. Dive to the bottom and collect buried treasure.
Oh, and the doctor's just like, is that why you're here?
Yeah.
And it's revealed why, because afterwards, the doctor explains, and I don't know if this is true. I don't know if this is medically true, but the doctor explains that babies spend up to 70% of their time in a dreamscape.
Yeah, that's probably not true.
Probably not true. But she sees a vision of her baby. Like, she goes inside of herself, and she is, I guess, in the womb. And then Freddie's face is like in the wall of her uterus. Whatever, we're inside in her body right now. And he then sends the souls of Dan and Greta down the what is it, umbilical cord to feed Jacob soul food, as Freddie puts it.
Which is stupid.
Yeah, it's
in every way. That's a stupid bit. That's a stupid joke. And that's a stupid part of this movie.
But then she freaks out. She leaves, and the doctor makes this call.
Mm-hmm.
It's revealed later in the next scene who he was calling. But this is kind of where we tackle, Alice and Yvonne are talking. They go back to their house, and Yvonne still doesn't believe any of this. But Mark comes in. He's done a lot of research into Freddie and into the different murders and the things that have happened in this town. And Yvonne leaves, and Mark asks Alice if she plans on, keeping it because it's kind of that thing of like, Alice is like, if Freddy is getting at me through my baby's dreams, I don't know how to stop that. And Mark is like, well, there is one way. And it opens the door to this conversation to be had in, you know, this slasher movie, which is interesting.
Because it's obviously the dream demon thing is obviously an allegory, but it is, well, you know, because he says with no judgment, which I think is progressive for a movie this old. He says with zero judgment, you know, well, you could always not have the baby. That solves the problem. And she's like, no, it's the last part of me and Dan, and I want to keep him. And Mark, again, without skipping a beat, it's like, okay, all right, your call. And it's just like, man, if only that was everyone all the time.
Yeah. Because then she's called into the next room and by her father, and Dan's parents are there.
Yeah.
Dan's parents, who are the ones who got the call from the doctor, because the doctor has been, I guess they had put him out there to be like, if she starts acting funny, you got to let us know.
If she ever says the name Freddy Krueger, you give us her child.
Because, yes, they want her to keep, you know, to have the baby, but then to give it to them to adopt.
And they would raise it as Dan's like sister and never like something. The logic of that is like, we'll raise her or him. You can be involved, but it can never know that you're the mom.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, I mean, I think that is a thing that definitely happens and has happened in families.
Sure.
It's a lot of how like kind of teen pregnancy, I think, has gotten around in places that frown upon that. And so.
You mean the Bible Belt?
Yeah. Or my hometown. And so, you know, but Alice is like, no, I am going to raise this kid.
You pointed out, and I really like the fact that the dad, her dad, Alice's dad, is like, get fucked.
Like he's supportive of this, like of Alice.
Yeah.
And I you know, I like that he's there. But they don't think that she's fit to raise the baby. And then we don't ever see them or hear from them again, do we?
Nope.
Not that because then the rest of this is, you know, they go over the research they found about Amanda Krueger, and she has said earlier in the movie that like her body needs to be kind of laid to rest in order to defeat Freddy.
Yeah. For
whatever reason that the movie needs us to know that. And so then they're trying to figure out where she might be. And it's like she's in a tower.
Yeah, she's like, find me in the old bell tower.
Yeah.
And you and I were talking about the fact that like, well, okay, Dream Warrior has a tower, like a big one where we kind of see her.
Yeah.
Like Dr. Gordon sees her up there in the tower and
like
Dream
goes
House.
up there and talks to her up there.
So it's like, well, then is that the asylum? Like where the kids in the mental hospital are in 3? Is that where the bastard, like the maniacs made Freddy?
Yeah.
Because that's a weird place to continue to practice medicine.
Yeah, they look and the locations look completely different.
Yeah, by a lot. One of them is a hospital and the other one is a spooky Dracula castle.
Yeah.
But anyway, Alice works out like, okay,
I'm going to go look for Amanda in the dream world. Watch me while I sleep, which is a plan.
That has never worked.
It always works.
No. You're wrong. That's never worked.
Oh.
Yeah.
But what about Johnny Depp?
He had a mega pint of wine and he fell asleep and he turned into a mega pint of beef.
That's true. But this is, Alice then like explores the mental hospital in the dream side of things. And she finds the tower and this brick wall that she can't get through. And then Yvonne, much like she does all the time, she only has 2 places that she goes: hospital, the pool.
And she's at that pool.
Yeah.
And she's sitting in the corner.
Yeah.
Then she falls asleep under the water.
She gets in a hot tub and then falls asleep.
I think it would have been much funnier here if instead of her falling asleep and then Freddy attacking her, if she fell asleep and then Freddy went to attack her, but then she drowned because she's asleep. And he's like, bitch, you know, or whatever he does.
But
he turns into the shark fin Freddy. Another Freddy.
Yeah, that's a cool Freddy.
Yeah.
But yeah, she we don't necessarily know it, but she falls asleep because you kind of hear the scraping of Freddy's claws and things. She climbs up to the high dive, and it's kind of this weird effect that happens. I don't love it at first, and then I do kind of like it where the high dive kind of breaks apart and then becomes like a giant version of his glove.
Yeah.
And it curls up, and it's very much like the twisted like bridge from Evil Dead.
Yeah. We have cited this movie on this show 1,000 times. I'm going to cite it again, but it also reminds me of the stop motion available in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Mm-hmm. It does, yeah.
Yeah.
And she ends up like falling, and she turns that into a dive, but then the pool becomes like a concrete floor.
Yes.
And then she dives into a puddle that's on that floor,
Which is pretty cool.
It's pretty
It's
cool.
a pretty good rug pull.
And then she falls into like this square room that is filled with like boiling water.
Yeah.
And
Which I said reminds me of the silo from Jigsaw.
because it's like slowly filling up with water, it seems.
Yeah.
And she's just stuck in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then like the door opens and Alice rolls in from where like Freddy, I guess, turned the world on its side and rolled her in there.
And he says something like, "Let's get on a roll."
Yeah.
Ha, ha, ha. And she literally rolls like a kid at the top of a small hill rolling down it. That's what she does through the house.
And Freddy reveals himself by like popping up out of the water, like shooting water out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And again, I just think it's Robert Englund just having a ball.
Having a good time.
But he says some one-liner that doesn't make any sense as he pulls Yvonne out of the water.
Yeah.
And Alice takes like a pool skimmer, like one of the long ones on a pole, and she stabs Freddy in the mouth with it up against the wall.
Yeah.
And like it kind of works for a moment.
The pole side is important to it's important to establish. It's the pole side.
And she grabs Yvonne and they run, and then Freddy like goes to the door. And I love this performance as well because it's so much in his face and his eyes of like he pauses and he looks around and then he slinks back and the door slams shut. Yeah. And she's like, he won't come out here where this is like Amanda's domain. And so they kind of have that little bit over him. And Yvonne, obviously now believes.
You would hope so.
Yeah. We move to probably my second favorite sequence, because the finale is definitely my favorite. But this is just before that. We're back with Mark, who again was supposed to be watching Alice sleep.
Mark has a comic book character that he's been writing and drawing for a while, and his goal out of high school is to get the character published.
Yeah, it's called the Phantom Prowler,
which is like a sepia tone guy with a do-rag and guns on like weird
mechanical arms.
Yeah, and that's what it is.
Yeah. He's an interesting looking, character, whatever.
Sure, yeah.
For a night like a late 80s, early 90s comic.
Yeah, it's very like IDW or like Top Cow or something. Yeah.
But he's reading comic books and to try and stay awake. And he then picks up a book that he's never noticed before, and he flips through it, and it's the events of this film.
Yeah.
Which I love, because I love meta shit like that.
Yeah, it's Spaceballs.
And I love Spaceballs. And then he is sucked into the black and white art, like the Take On Me music video, and which is like the second time, because they also do that whenever he and Alice go into the drawing before, but then they only do it for like that brief moment, and then that kind of style is gone. But instead, they end up in a black and white version of the warehouse, and Freddy rides a skateboard.
It's so wild because there's zero reason.
Yeah, the only reason is that Mark rides a skateboard earlier.
Oh, okay.
So because the first rewatch, I was like, why? Well, he just does it randomly.
I like
his skateboard. And then
the
the second rewatch, I was like, oh, it's because of this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like his skateboard. The back of it has the claw, like the glove claws sticking out, which is cute.
And like he doesn't really do anything with that. He kind of jump scares him with the skateboard.
Then Mark's like, "I'll fucking kill you," and he turns into the guy that I mentioned, whose name I forgot.
Yeah, the Phantom Prowler.
That one. And he starts shooting Freddy, and Freddy's like, "Mark," and he falls down. Then Freddy gets back up.
Mm-hmm.
And he's obviously not Robert Englund anymore.
What?
He's obviously a much different, much bigger, and I think like in every way he's different. And he gets up and he's just like, har, har, and he's got like a lightning bolt on his chest, like Shazam. And he's like, I love Trump, because that's what the guy who is Shazam thinks. But and that guy's a piece of shit. But no, he goes.
Yeah, we've mentioned a lot of those this episode.
Amen, brother. But he goes, he's like, faster than 1,000 speeding maniacs or something. It's like a play on that.
Yeah, faster than a bastard maniac, more powerful than a loco madman.
Right. And then he goes, I'm Super Freddy.
And he is.
And then this series is weird in that way where like, and this is a criticism taken from, and I mentioned him on this show before, but this is a criticism taken from film critic Jay Bauman, who talks about like the Kincaid scene is where he really talks about this in Dream Master, where Kincaid is in this giant planet of scrapyard cars. And instead of doing something amazing with those things, Freddy just kind of stabs him in the guts.
Yeah.
And like they do that a lot. So then Super Freddy, instead of doing something cool with like comic book powers or whatever, just kind of slashes him. But then Mark is transformed back into a cartoon version of himself.
Right.
And then as Freddy slashes, he cuts that, like you called him a flat Stanley, which is hilarious. He cuts flat Mark Lee's sides, and then all of the color of that comic illustration drain out of him, and he's just in black and white, and he falls over.
Super Freddy is played by Michael Bailey Smith, who was an actor and probably a stunt guy. But he played Ben Grimm in the 1994 unreleased Roger Corman produced The Fantastic Four film.
What the fuck?
Which means he is also in the current The Fantastic Four First Steps film, because all four of those members make cameos in that movie. So in the part where Johnny, in the early bit when they're kind of doing the like montage of stuff, Johnny he stops a giant building that's on fire. And he turns around and he kind of gives a little salute, and there's a bunch of construction workers, and the two construction workers in the front are this guy, Michael Bailey Smith, the Thing, and then the guy who played Johnny Storm in that 94 version.
Now, where in the film is Michael Chiklis?
He's not. And then Alice goes home and goes to sleep, thus entering the hospital from the dream side of things.
I think the most disappointing part of all this is that she doesn't jump kick her way through a glass mirror like she did in the last time in the conclusion, but that's fine.
Yeah, that would have been too much. But she is like running around the halls, taunting Freddy, and who begins eventually chasing her. And she hits him with the torture baby stroller.
Yes.
And knocks him down into the pit with all the maniacs, who then also rush him into the corner.
Right.
And they begin like tearing him apart.
So it wasn't sexist.
No.
They're gonna kill anybody or get at anybody.
They got one thing on their mind, and for Freddy, it's tearing his arms off.
Yes.
And then they like throw them, and then the arms become like whatever they throw like becomes tarantulas. In kind of a neat effect.
Sure.
It's a little camera trick. But then they end up in she hears a kid's voice, Jacob's voice.
Yeah.
And so Alice turns, and in one of my favorite shots in the whole thing, she steps into this little corridor, and there's like chains that are hanging at the wrong angle.
Yeah.
And Freddy is then revealed. And I love it because there's a whole point here where his arm that has just been torn off is like tied inside of the sweater, but it is hanging off of his body.
Yeah.
And then he's walking around like Igor, like the henchman from a scientist movie.
Like he's in the process of stitching himself together, but where he can normally do that pretty quickly. Like he's suffering in this.
Yeah.
Is what I took from it.
And but the labyrinth that we have talked about is revealed. And
this is where our clip is.
There's water, running in the wrong direction, and there's staircases that go up and down in every direction, and nothing makes any sense. And it's visually stunning.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Every piece of this is just amazing.
I'm realizing that again, that damn stroller comes into play. Because Freddy is taunting Alice, like, well, I've got you both. And she's like, Jacob, you need to get the fuck out of here. And he's like, but Freddy's my friend. And she's like, no, the fuck he's not. You need to fucking leave. And he's like, okay. And he's running away. But as he's like running away and Freddy's chasing after him, they're going up and down these stairs that are MC Eschery. And then up the stairs, like off in the distance, you just see the stroller like going up the stairs. And it's like, who's pushing that thing?
Yeah. And then it's really weird because then, like, at one point, David Bowie's there as the Goblin King and he's running around and he's trying to steal a baby as well.
Does he call Freddy Krueger the Scar Man because of the burn scars?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens.
That's really, really horrible, David Bowie. How could you? Anyway, yeah. And thus begins
An amazing point of physical props.
yeah.
Because Alice is like, she realizes that Freddy has, you know, kind of been hiding within her this whole time. And so at first she like turns around and then she has the Freddy makeup on her face.
Like the burns, yeah.
And then she grabs her face and pulls Freddy out of her.
This also reminds me of Beetlejuice.
Mm-hmm.
The
transformation scene?
The Maitlands stretching and pulling their faces.
That's a good pull. It makes me think of John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah, but it makes me think of the remake of John Carpenter's The Thing. Because it's like you see the two faces.
Yeah.
And it's a digital effect in that one. But
yeah, you get a practical version that's similar, but it's pulling apart, which is why it's closer to this. But like the amount of different builds that they had to do.
Yeah, it's like an Animorphs book cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's interesting to kind of watch her fight Freddy out of her body. And like parts of it are practical effects and parts of it are like stop motion effects of like his arm or his leg like bursting out of her.
Yeah.
But
they're smart because they do that stop motion stuff from a distance.
Yes. And I don't know, they just quickly cut around to it all and it looks really great. And then around that time that they're struggling, Yvonne has broken through the wall and she finds what looks to be Amanda Kruger in her nun habit praying. And as Yvonne reaches out and touches her shoulder, Amanda is revealed to be a spooky skeleton.
Oh my God. Not again.
And then, but she turns to the camera and says, thank you, as like a superimposed version of her, you know.
It takes over the skeleton.
Yeah. And then she shows up in the labyrinth.
That's not too weird that there's a superimposed face over the skeleton because everybody's got a skeleton in them.
What?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Since when?
If I took like an x-ray machine and
Uh-huh.
I
What does
x-rayed
that
you,
do?
it looks inside of your skin.
Okay.
And then
What would it reveal?
a skeleton.
Oh my God. Say it ain't so.
Okay. It's not so.
Good. I don't got no skeleton in me.
No, you do, because it is.
But Amanda then shows up in the labyrinth and she basically is like, Jacob, now is your time to you know, defeat him.
So Jacob goes, all right, dearie. And he opens like his mouth and is like, and this is a moment that I really like with Jacob because he's like tricking Freddy and he like turns and it's this little kid who grows up to be a horrifying man. But as a kid, he's like kind of cute because he's got like really sunken dark eyes, which makes him perfect for this movie.
Yeah, that's true.
But he's dressed up in the Freddy makeup and then his voice, which is he's a little kid and he's doing like this. And he's like, come on, Freddy, teach me stuff. I want to learn from you. Fuck my mom. I want to be, well, don't do that. You know what I meant.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to make another one of me.
I can't do that voice anymore. But it's the funniest thing. He shoots like energy out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And then it hits Freddy. And then from Freddy's back, it's like in the Sony Venom movie when Venom like will come out of Eddie Brock's shoulder as like a little head.
Yeah.
They're like little sperm things that burst out of his back, but they're the heads of her friends. And they're like dragging him away from Jacob. It's the strangest thing.
It is. And
It's
then
not, it doesn't look bad.
no.
It's just weird.
And then eventually they like pull baby Freddy out of the body of adult Freddy.
And that baby is like, fuck you. It starts to scramble away. And then,
Jacob is also now just a normal baby on the ground.
but like, the kid is like kind of olive complexion with very dark eyes and like very black hair. And the baby's just like a blonde baby. Like, not at all the same kid.
No, not at all.
Because babies typically don't look exactly like they do as they grow older, but like that kid is specifically like distinct looking.
Yeah, you can't find another kid that looks like that though.
No, you need like
You'd have to invent one.
or my brother. He doesn't listen to this show. He'll never hear that.
And so Alice picks up the baby Jacob and Amanda picks up the baby Freddy, and they both disappear back inside of them.
Yeah. And Alice seems thrilled about this. Meanwhile, Amanda Kruger's like, you gotta get the fuck out of here. This thing's trying to make me shit it out. And then it's like this awesome, like, sort of Sam Raimi snap zoom of down this long corridor.
Yeah. Because Freddy's hand, much like at the end of 2, bursts out of Amanda's like chest and stomach.
But where in 2 that was stupid. This one's pretty good.
Yeah.
But she's like, you have to get the fuck out of here. I can only contain him for so long. And then it's a series of doors closing like down this long hallway as the camera pulls back really fast. These doors in order in this hallway close and then explode and then close and then explode. We watched the special features, and apparently the way they did this was these doors were miniature doors that they would pull the camera back through, and they would use squibs. So as the door would close, the squib charge would go off and the miniature door would explode, and they would do that all the way down in sequence until they closed a real metal door at the very front and like in between that and the camera in the hallway. And then it's like the door closes and you can see like Amanda way out in the distance with the arm still flailing out of her stomach, and then like a metal window slides shut over it. And
it's a cool little effect.
It looks really fucking good.
Yeah. Cause it is that level of like stop motion and miniature work that I really love.
Yeah.
That's just kind of inserted in movies like this.
This movie's a strange one in the sense that this is where you have in 4 in Dream Master, Alice alone survives.
Well, her and Dan.
Right, but Dan's not in the core group. Dan is very much outlier. In this one, a member of the core group survives, which is like the Joey Kincaid of, of this movie. Now, are these characters in the sequel, in the follow-up?
No.
Yeah, no, nothing is. But they are revealed to have aged a bit.
Yeah, it's several months later.
Yeah.
She has had the baby.
He's in a carrier. They all compliment. And it's a cute little moment. They're in a park. It looks like the park that Alice absolutely was going to kill those Freddy Rhyme girls through.
As she should.
She should. That's how you do it. If you ever hear somebody go 1, 2, just start throwing hatchets.
Yeah.
Hatchet and chains.
On site.
Yeah. But they compliment the baby, and everybody's very happy together as a family. And then as you kind of pull out of the park, you pull through like the jungle gym or whatever. And it is the girl skipping rope, and she's doing the rhyme leading you to a sequel, which I wish they had never made.
Yeah. Or if they were going to, I wish that they had continued this in some way.
Wouldn't it have been awesome if after this one and after Friday 7, if that's when they made Freddy Versus?
Yeah.
That'd have been great.
Yeah. Instead, it was like another decade before we actually got that movie. I, like we've said, surprisingly really dug this movie.
It is surprising to me because I truly remembered, and that's why this is, I think, noteworthy, because I truly remembered not liking this. I was dreading this.
Yeah.
Because we had done really well, and then 4 wasn't as bad as I remembered. I didn't think it was going to be bad. I just didn't think it was going to be as great. But
I knew that 4 was a step down from 3, but then I thought 5 was a further stepped out.
Like a
from
huge one, yeah. But no, this is a good entry. I really like this movie.
Yeah. I put it on par with 4, but like you said at the beginning, I think it, like if I'm ranking, I think it's just above it.
Yeah, for sure.
I think it's the characters. I like them more. There's not as many of them. I don't have to keep track of so many of like little nitpicky things, and how are we going to do it? That is one gripe that they got. One complaint from people is that there weren't enough kills in this one, and probably for the time, it was like coming off of the of part 4 a year prior, and then from the Friday movies that were happening around the same time. Like, yeah, the kill count is low.
Yeah, it's low, but the kills are better crafted in this one.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing about these movies, is that the kills they're not as many, and they're not as, especially when you compare it to like final chapter of Friday, they're never going to be as visually gory. They're not going to have those same visuals, but they're creative. They're inspired. They take thought and planning to make them work well. And I think this one is no exception. I think this one works very well.
Yeah, I agree. That being said, do you recommend The Dream Child?
I didn't think I was going to say this, but yeah, I do. What's funny is that in Friday, there's a couple of them that I don't recommend to this point. Actually, there's 3 of them. I don't recommend 3, 5, or 7.
Yeah.
This series, I only don't recommend 2, and that's only because it's a slog to get through, but not because of like it's a poorly made movie. But yeah, no, I definitely recommend this one.
Yeah, it's got some fun kills, some great effects, some good little character moments.
Spooky
that
little
finale is great.
Yeah.
And Robert Englund is having a ball, as he should.
He is. Let me ask you this. Obviously, Freddy versus Jason, it's always, who's the winner of Freddy versus Jason? And you can't really have one. They're both unkillable in their own right. Here's the question. Earlier, I suggested that I was reminded of the first Omen.
Right.
Visually, of the shot. So here's the question. Who wins in a fight, in a versus? Alice's kid, Jacob, or Satan's kid, Damien?
Oh, that's tough.
You know who loses? All of us.
Thanks for tuning into the Third Channel podcast. Please, if you have the time, rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any of your favorite podcast apps.
You can follow us on social media at Third Channel Podcast, and you can find me online at ThatDRosenberg.
You can also reach out to us at thirdchannelpodcast@gmail.com, where we check every message we swear. Third Channel is hosted by PJ Minette
and Derek Rosenberg. Theme song and audio engineering by Fly Guy Ty.
The logo designed by Bell DeVelco.
Episode artwork by Nathan Walkington.
Keep it tuned right here to the Third Channel for all things horror. And remember, don't touch that dial.
Egg salad and eggs.